Here is the 15 3-minute narrative segment, the final arc of the Eternal Griot, Tales of the Seven-Eyed Calabash. Part 15, the first story, The Last Silence, Chapter 1, The Gate Beneath the Drum. When the final star awoke above Anawulio Nadu, the calabash began to pulse with all 6 eyes closed, except the 7th, which had never opened. Omiri heard no voices. No whispers. Only the wind drawing inward, as though the world itself was holding its breath. In the dead of night, he placed the calabash on a stone drum at the hilltop. The ground cracked. From the earth rose an ancient gateway, shaped like a griot's mouth held open, yet silent. A single inscription pulsed along its rim, "Greater than you must tell the story you never told." Chapter 2, the stone griot. Through the gate, Omiri descended into a cavern that pulsed with memory. Every wall was etched with moments from the tales he'd gathered: the girl of the river, the king who forgot his name, the sky that wouldn't dream. And then, deeper still, he reached a chamber empty of all carvings. At its center sat a statue of himself. But younger. Afraid. And clutching a broken drum. Omiri fell to his knees. The final truth of the calabash became clear. The 7th eye held not a tale of others, but his own origin. The story he'd buried since boyhood. Chapter 3, the boy without a name. I remember read long ago, he was not Omiri. He had no name. He was his servant's child, born in the palace of a tyrant king who burned stories to keep power. He was raised never to speak, only to listen. But one day, he heard a story so beautiful about stars that whispered names, it lit a fire inside him. He told it aloud. And the king ordered his mother executed for giving voice to a dangerous child. She died smiling. "Greater than your voice will someday free the sky," she said. In grief, the boy ran. He found an old griot dying by the roadside. The griot gave him a drum and a name, Omiri. Chapter 4, the calabash's true gift. The calabash had never simply stored stories. It had been guiding him back to his first silence, the wound behind every tale. To be a griot is to bear not only the voices of others, but also the scream that birthed your own. Omiri wept, and the 7th eye opened. Inside it, not light but sound. The laughter of his mother. The sound of his first story. The voice of every ancestor who had once told a tale and been forgotten. The calabash dissolved into dust. In its place stood a new drum, woven of 7 colors, pulsing with all the eyes now within him. He was the calabash now. Chapter 5, the final return. Omiri emerged from the cavern. But not as a wanderer. As a keeper. Wherever he stepped, stories awakened. The blind remembered. The mute began to hum. The skies above villages shimmered with memories. He returned to the lands he had passed through. He planted a fruit from the lightning tree at the river of names. He taught Zinri to weave constellations into songs. He placed the sky drum atop the temple ruins. And he whispered a new name to the silent river, greater than eternity. The world had changed. Because the griot had dared to remember himself. Chapter 6, the beginning of Storyos' final hour approached. Omiri sat beneath a baobab that shimmered like stardust. Children gathered. He lifted the new drum, now smooth as memory. And he spoke, "Greater than this is the tale of the calabash with 7 eyes. It saw trees and rivers, gods and silence. But its last eye saw you." And he smiled. And he played. And the world listened.